afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Zorba Pastor Thursday.
That's right. We're going to be taking your calls and questions for Dr. Zorba Pastor a little later this hour, so be thinking them up, and Mark and I will let you know when it's time to call in.
But first, here's what's making news on this Thursday. Two youngsters who tumbled down a state park cliff are amazingly doing well. An update on their conditions.
Violence on Madison's west side this morning. A person is gunned down in an apartment parking lot.
And two Army evacuation helicopters on a nighttime training flight collide with tragic results. Let's take a look outside. Started out kind of chilly, warmed up throughout the day. Preparing for storms, however.
And possibly severe storms as well. It's an alert day tomorrow.
It is, as Greg is in the backyard. Tell us the timing on all this.
Yeah, it's going to be an active day tomorrow. Really, we're going to be kind of swinging back to spring, even summer-like feeling conditions for a brief return. So that's why we got the the alert for tomorrow afternoon and evening. We can see all modes: high winds, hail, heavy rain, and even a few tornadoes. The best threat, or the highest threat, is still south-southwest of Madison, but Madison is including in the severe weather threat as well. This should all wrap up by Friday evening. We actually have a rare moderate risk all the way up to about Dubuque, and then enhanced risk up to Madison, and then the yellow is slight. So it does back off as you go further northeast in the area. But overall, we're still going to see most of the areas going to see some type of severe threat right now. Overall, you see the warm front is beginning to push closer to the to Wisconsin. That's going to provide a little bit of shower activity right now. I think you'll see more of that overnight hours. But for right now, just a few showers. A lot of this is not reaching the ground quite yet. I think we'll see more towards midnight or thereafter. Just some light showers and thunderstorms, not severe. This won't be severe tonight. Future track shows for the next 3 hours, it will be mainly dry through this evening. Once again, just cloud cover. Bigger picture clouds, you can start seeing the clouds beginning to approach, and also the low levels, you can see the clouds beginning to surge north from the Gulf of Mexico, indication that we are seeing a surge of moisture and warmer temperatures that's going to be coming our way by tomorrow morning. So for this evening, where temperatures going to hold steady in the low to mid 40s, they actually start rising a little bit later in this evening under cloudy skies. Once again, the threat of showers is probably later towards midnight or thereafter with some thunderstorms. Not expecting to be severe tonight. Up ahead, we'll kind of time out what to expect with those waves of severe thunderstorms by the tomorrow afternoon and evening. And unfortunately, we're going to swing back to winter a little bit of time on Saturday morning with some more snow, and I'll break all that down a bit later in the broadcast.
That's quite a forecast.
Yeah, it's a lot to talk about.
A lot going on there, Greg.
All right, Greg, we'll check back in just a little while. Thank you. First at 4, good news this afternoon. We're learning that 2 children who fell from a cliff at Governor Dodge State Park are out of the hospital and expected to recover.
We sent a team to check out the cliff where this all happened. Braden Ross has more.
Eyewitnesses tell me this is the spot where 2 kids fell from the top of that cliff, one of them almost 80 feet. Authorities say a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old fell from these rocks called Any Point around 2:15 in the afternoon yesterday. One of the children was flown to the hospital, and both children had serious injuries. Gavin Jenkins was working construction in the park at the time and says he saw the aftermath.
I just heard one of the EMTs or the parent or somebody just say, "It's going to be okay, buddy," and then you knew it was a child, and that sort of was heartbreaking. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources says the fall happened in an area that isn't on a designated trail or maintained by park staff. Signs at the bottom of the bluff warn visitors not to climb the rocks. They say anyone hiking on the bluff is doing so at their own risk. At Governor Dodge State Park, Braden Ross, News 3 Now.
And the Iowa County Sheriff called the kids' recovery the best outcome possible, saying this case is truly remarkable.
Madison police are investigating after a person was shot multiple times in the parking lot of a West Side apartment complex. Officers were called to the 7900 block of Tree Lane just before 11 a.m. One person was very seriously injured after being shot multiple times. Chief Sean Barnes said no one else was injured in the shooting. Madison police do not have any suspects in custody.
It's broad daylight. It is spring break. There's a playground probably 100 feet from me, and these things certainly have no place in Madison. This is why we've been working very hard to take illegal guns off the street.
Chief Barnes says reports from witnesses indicate the shooting could have happened after a disagreement between 2 people who knew each other. 9 people were killed in a crash involving 2 Army Black Hawk helicopters in Kentucky.
The helicopters were conducting a nighttime training exercise when the scene turned tragic. Skylar Henry has more.
The Army provided preliminary details of the deadly crash of 2 helicopters during a Wednesday night training mission.
At approximately 10 p.m. last night, 2 of our Black Hawk helicopters were involved in a crash during a planned training flight in Cadiz, Kentucky, that resulted in the death of all 9 service members aboard the aircraft.
Officials say the medical evacuation helicopters belonging to the 101st Airborne Division crashed in a field near a residential area about 30 miles northwest of Fort Campbell. There were no reports of injuries on the ground.
We'll immediately initiate an investigation to help us understand what caused this crash in order to prevent accidents like this from happening again.
Last month, 2 National Guard members were killed when their Black Hawk went down along an Alabama highway.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin issued a statement saying he's saddened by this latest tragic loss, adding that he's working to make sure troops and families receive the care that they need in the wake of this accident.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear paid tribute to the fallen soldiers.
We are blessed to live in the freest country in the history of planet Earth, but we must remember that that freedom relies on those who are willing to serve, some of which pay the ultimate price.
One of the helicopters had 5 soldiers on board, and the other had 4. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
And the names of the victims are being withheld until the next of kin are notified.
Russia has arrested an American reporter and accused him of spying. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich was taken out of a Moscow courthouse after being charged as a spy and ordered to be held until the end of May. Gershkovich was arrested hundreds of miles east of Moscow. Russia's security forces accuse him of acting on behalf of the American government to collect information about the Russian military-industrial complex.
We are immensely concerned over Russia's announcement that it has detained a U.S. citizen journalist. We're in contact, as I said, with the Wall Street Journal about this situation, and we have not yet heard back from the Russian Foreign Ministry Affairs.
The White House says it is working to free Gershkovich. The administration says it is unsafe for Americans to be in Russia at this time and urged all U.S. citizens to leave the country as soon as possible.
An early morning train derailment has caused residents of a small town in Minnesota to evacuate. Numerous cars of a BNSF train derailed just after midnight. Some of the derailed cars were carrying ethanol and corn syrup and started on fire. Part of a town called Raymond near the crash site was evacuated to a school in nearby Princeburg.
Verona Area High School hosted its first ever Latinos United Leadership Summit today. The school hoped the summit would help students develop their leadership skills. They heard from a broad range of speakers led by Verona Mayor Luke Diaz and had breakout sessions featuring a wide range of speakers, including business leaders, artists, and nonprofit representatives.
I think it's important because a lot of our students, especially our Latino students, coming from different countries don't see themselves as leaders necessarily because they are coming from a different world, basically. And so we want them to see that no matter what, your skills are their strengths, right? They're not deficits.
The day ended with the students completing a community building art project. A woman in Sauk County says she is not getting what she paid for after 2 years and hundreds of dollars spent on her Cinch home warranty. She's fed up.
Tehil Moladin joins us now with his call for action report. Tehil.
Mark and Susan, Jenny Blau says things went wrong when her appliance warranty provider of almost 20 years, Sears, went out of business and Cinch took over. Blau says for the past 2 years, she's gotten billed $70 monthly for a policy that isn't being serviced. Last year, she filed 3 claims for a water softener, a washing machine, and thermostat. And after paying $100 per claim, she was told she would need to find her own service provider to make the repairs with the promise of a reimbursement.
I feel kind of like I got taken in a way, because what they promised they didn't do. They put it all on me, and you call them, you set up the appointments, you get the paperwork, you send us the pictures, you know.
She says after paying more than $300 out of pocket to get her appliances repaired, she has yet to receive a penny from the company. Instead, what she got was the runaround. She contacted our Call for Action team, and a couple of months later, after we got involved, she may have some help. Tonight at 6, we'll have more on Blouse Stories and the others calling foul on Cinch.
We'll see you then. Thank you. The Wisconsin men's hockey team has a new coach. Athletic Director Chris McIntosh announced within the past hour that they have hired Mike Hastings to that position. Hastings was coach at Minnesota State Mankato for 11 years, taking that team to 8 NCAA tournament appearances. He takes over for Tony Granato, who was fired earlier this month.
Before, he's never been to the big league. So.
And it's opening day for the Milwaukee Brewers.
The crew were in the Windy City today taking on the Cubs. Look out, see if you can find Gary Canalti. He's there. And the home team had a big third inning. The Cubs scored 4 runs in the third. Unfortunately, to shut out the Brewers to spoil opening day, Milwaukee mustered up just 4 hits in the loss.
Sort of like where they picked up from last year.
No, don't say it. I'm wearing my Brewers blue to give them some good juju, yeah.
Well, there's more to come before the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra's Masterwork series continues.
When we come back, we'll get a preview of some of the upcoming concerts from the maestro himself, Andrew Sewell. That's when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Mad City, a division of Renewity, the local service you deserve, now backed by unmatched national strength. We are Wisconsin's #1 ranked remodeler. We started with 50, now we're looking for 30 homeowners who need a new garage floor. 30 homeowners will receive test market pricing on Renewity advanced floor coatings, protection against oil, moisture, and chemical damage. Mad City offers a price lock guarantee. Receive a free estimate now. We'll lock your price in and guarantee it for 1 year, no matter what. And 30 homeowners will save with 60% off installation. Ask about 24 months, no interest and no payments. A bonus. Call right now during this program for a free $50 Starbucks gift card with estimate. From Madison throughout South Central Wisconsin, pick up the phone and call now with zip code and location to qualify. 608-888-8537, 608-888-8537.
A man brutally attacked and sexually assaulted a woman. The victim spent endless nights unable to sleep, plagued by nightmares. Judge Janet Protasewicz called the offender many females' worst nightmare, but she cut his sentence to only 2.5 years in prison. Judge Janet's dangerous judgment puts our families at risk. That's why sheriffs throughout Wisconsin support Dan Kelly. He's the only candidate we can trust to keep violent felons off our streets. On April 4th, vote Justice Dan Kelly. Fair Courts America is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Brothers Maine has been family-owned since 1938. Some of us were born into this family, and others chose to join through the years. We know you can't replace family, but you can replace appliances, and Brothers Maine is here for you when one breaks down. Our in-house team has delivered ranges to washers to refrigerators to hectic households in a pinch, oftentimes the next day. Just because an appliance breaks down doesn't mean you have to. We're not big box. We're Brothers Maine, and we want you to feel like family here.
On abortion rights, do you want extremist Dan Kelly holding the gavel? Kelly wants abortion banned even in cases of rape, incest, and the health of the mother. He'll uphold the 1849 criminal abortion law that allows doctors and nurses to be jailed for performing abortions. And he'll strip women of their freedom to make their own decision on abortion. So don't give Dan Kelly a gavel with your vote. He's just too extreme.
Welcome back. Goodbye, short round cans. Hello, tall, skinny ones.
This is interesting. More beverage companies are now using taller, slimmer cans. It's meant to signal to all of us that these new drinks are healthier than the beer and sodas in the old round cans. Traditionally, beverage companies opted for the 12-ounce stout can to allow more room to advertise the contents of their drink. But now with the slimmer versions, brands can squeeze more cans on store shelves, in trucks, and at warehouses. When you see a thinner can, you think it's healthier?
It's all marketing.
Yes, it is. This year, the tax filing deadline falls on April 18th, which is just around the corner.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger has some tips to navigate the process. It's time to get cracking on your returns, and that means claiming tax credits. Check IRS.gov to see if you qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit. This is for people with low to moderate incomes and can lead to credits up to $6,900. There's also a number of child tax credits that many parents might be able to get. If you're paying for college, see if you qualify for the American Opportunity Tax Credit.
If you can't get your act together by April 18th and need an extension, use Form 4868. That gives you an extra 6 months to file. But an important note, an extension to file is not an extension to pay. That means you need to estimate and pay any owed taxes by the April 18th deadline in order to avoid potential penalties and interest. Finally, if you've already filed and received a tax...
All right, thanks, Jill. Tax day, as she mentioned, is April 18th this year.
2 reports out today suggest a slight cooling of the U.S. economy. The Commerce Department says the gross domestic product grew slightly less than expected in the 4th quarter of last year. Meanwhile, the Department of Labor reports first-time jobless claims have gone up. It says 198,000 people applied for the benefits last week. That is above what economists were expecting. Stocks extended their rally as Wall Street looks to end the first quarter on a high note. The Dow Industrials added 141 points, closing at 32,859. The Nasdaq gained 87 points, while the S&P 500 closed up 23. The Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra's Masterworks series brings the masters of classical music to the Capitol Theater. It's been a very big hit this year. The schedule for the next Masterworks series of concerts, which begin this fall, has been released. Andrew Sewell is the music director of the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra. Good to see you again, Maestro.
Good to see you. Hello. Hello.
So you're already set for next fall.
Yes, yes we are.
So what are some of the highlights?
Well, we've got this young pianist, Maxime Landau, who was here for the last 2 summers, and he's coming back to perform indoors. He's got ties to Madison. His mother grew up here, and he's welcome to come back.
We talked about him not too long ago.
That's right. That's exactly right. He's playing opening with the Brahms. Brahms, he's an amazing young man. I mean, at 17, he went to Moscow and played with the St. Petersburg Philharmonic, excuse me, St. Petersburg, not Moscow. But anyway, he is really rocketing up to success. We're very delighted to open the season with him. And then in January, we've got Vladislava Lukashenko, who's playing a concert called Norwegian Fantasy by a famous composer, Lalo, and that'll be her first time in Madison. And then in March, we have Stuart Goodyear returning in February, and then in March we have our own composer in residence performing his Symphony No. 14, a brand new work that was being commissioned, and the culmination of his 3 years of working with the orchestra. And that'll involve a number of choirs, groups, the Madison Youth Choirs, the Festival Choir, and some soloists.
So tell us a little bit more about Vlad.
She's a violinist.
Yes, yes. So interestingly, this is where, like we just had this last week, I have a specific repertoire in mind, and so I go looking for the artists that may have played it, and this is what came up, and I thought, well, she looks like a fantastic complement to the season. So, you know, sometimes it's the work, sometimes it's the artist, sometimes it's a combination of the two.
One of the things I think is probably contributed to Masterworks being so popular is that you have a talk session before the concert where you talk about the music, you talk about the artist. It's a great opportunity for people to learn so much more about classical music.
Well, that's very kind. Yes, we have a pre-concert talk at 6:30, and we have a moderator, one of our violinists, Luke, discusses that, and we have the soloist there. And then people can come, about 100 people show up, and they can ask questions. And then also we've kind of relaxed it a little in the concert hall by having some pre-concert announcements. Sometimes I speak from the podium just to let people know what's coming down the pike, what they can expect. And we've noticed that with the 2 sold-out performances, people clap after every number, which, you know, sometimes there's this thing about clapping in between movements. It's tradition. You know what? I don't care, because it means that people are enjoying themselves. And that's what it's all about. Yeah. And you can't be too stuffy.
You like to find little-known works sometimes.
Exactly. And that's part of that. The last concert we just had was this particular guitar concerto, I found this guitarist. But again, it's different combinations of how we find and secure these artists and then bring them to Madison, and the rest is, well, we see what happens.
And it's been sold out, so
well, it's been successful so far.
You do something right.
When does it start in the fall? November?
November the 11th.
And June 28th. Mark your calendar. That's Concerts
right.
on the Square.
Concerts on the Square.
3 months.
Yes, indeed. My goodness, you're making me nervous. You're making me nervous.
No pressure. No pressure.
Good to see you again, Andrew.
Always good to see you. Thank you for having us on.
Coming up later, 1 in 100 babies born in the U.S. have a congenital heart defect.
Our Brady Mallory follows one couple's difficult journey, and he's going to join us to tell us why they wanted to share their story. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Have you heard? We've outgrown our space. Again! Save up to half off floor samples and special orders at Dwellings Construction Sale. Dwellings, interior design and home furnishings. Still Madison's best kept $150 secret.
Attention homeowners, Mad City Home Improvement is looking for 30 homeowners who need a new garage floor. Our Renuity Advanced Floor Coatings will transform your garage from ordinary to extraordinary in as little as 1 day. It's the revolutionary floor coating that's durable, damage resistant, and easy to clean. And our garage storage systems will help keep your space organized. Call now for your free design consultation with our price lock guarantee. We'll lock your price in for 1 year. Plus, 30 homeowners will save with 60% off installation of Renuity Advanced Floor Coatings. And ask about 24 months, no interest and no payments. Plus, call during this program for a bonus. $50 Starbucks gift card with your free in-home estimate. From Madison throughout South Central Wisconsin, pick up the phone and call now with zip code and location to qualify. 608-888-8537, 608-888-8537.
There are so many things we take for granted, and along with them, sometimes we take the people who depend on them for granted too. How can they survive with record increases in their basic cost of living? And through no fault of their own, they're being left behind. If you or someone you know needs a hand up, our energy and water providers are working together to keep you safely in your home. You may not ask for it, but we're here to help.
He brutally raped her, repeatedly.
I spent endless nights plagued by nightmares. My bedroom door was barricaded. I was so afraid.
But Judge Protasiewicz ignored her pleas, let the rapist off easy, and now he's back on the streets.
When you don't know where your attacker is, then he is everywhere. He is every sound in the night.
Tell Judge Protasiewicz, stop failing victims and stop protecting criminals.
All right, team, we got a big project coming up. And it all starts with ordering promotional products.
I'm on it. 4imprint makes it easy to get the logoed products you're looking for. The latest in apparel, drinkware, bags, high-tech items, and more. You can be certain of getting it right at 4imprint.com. Come on out. I'm on it.
4imprint for certain. Have you heard? We've outgrown our space. Again! Save up to half off floor samples and special orders at Dwellings Construction Sale. Dwellings, interior design and home furnishings. Still Madison's best kept $150 secret.
Well, take a look at this. Police in Maryland say a manual mistake landed 2 teens behind bars. Cops claim the 2 teens carjacked a man at a gas station, but they couldn't get away because the car was a stick shift.
Oh, no.
After a few moments of failing to figure out the tricky transmission, the duo ran away on foot, only to be arrested minutes later.
Oh,
that's the best anti-theft deterrent you could have.
Yes, it is.
These kids don't know how to drive a stick.
That's great.
All right, we got some interesting weather coming tomorrow.
Yeah, it's severe weather probably, you know, and actually this is Iowa's week for severe weather awareness. Ours doesn't come until like mid-April actually, so it's a little bit earlier. But yeah, to kind of give you an idea with severe storm categories, these are all severe thunderstorms, but they're different categories of them, especially when it comes to alerts on your phone that are from like the emergency alerts that you get. So right now, consider destructive is the one that you will get if we do get to that level. which is possible tomorrow. You will get the emergency alert along with all the tornado warnings too that come out. And remember, a tornado either is a tornado warning or it comes to a tornado emergency, and that's when it's on the ground and destructive. So those could be two that you could see there too. So just some ideas to keep in mind of have our app, but also you'll have the alerts through your phone tomorrow, which are key. And obviously, as I say, when you're outside, keep an eye to the sky.
Right.
Because sometimes you get too buried with other stuff, you forget what's going on around you.
And the time frame of the worst potential weather?
It's about 2 to 8 p.m. It'll be coming through. I think the tornadic threat's more for Grant County and those areas, probably more wind threat as you get up here.
And then snow.
A little snow. It's going to feel like the winds will be howling come Saturday morning, the snow. But I'll break all that down here eventually after the break.
I can't wait.
Outlets at the Dells in the center of water park heaven with 60 of the world's biggest brands. We thrill the trendsetters and all who love a smoking hot discount. Save even more with 25% off and get a free Outlets gift card. Visit outletsatthedells.com for coupon and details.
It improves the value of my house, period. And it's done a nice job, you know. So yeah, that's why we're doing it.
Let Mad City Home Improvement upgrade your garage into a beautiful extension of your home with our Renewity Advanced Floor Coatings. You're going to love the showroom quality appearance, guaranteed for life and backed by our product and labor warranty. Ask about our garage storage systems and call now. 30 homeowners who need a new garage floor will receive special savings. For starters, 60% off installation. Ask about 24 months, no interest and no payments, and you'll be compensated for your time. Call during this program for a bonus, a free $50 Starbucks gift card with your in-home estimate. From Madison throughout South Central Wisconsin, pick up the phone and call now with zip code and location to qualify. 608-888-8537, 608-888-8537.
This is how legends are made. Chevy Silverado and new Silverado HD. Choose your own path with the #1 best-selling retail full-size pickup and see where it takes you. Find new roads. It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all Silverado 1500 pickups. And current Chevy owners get $2,500 cash allowance on this Silverado with a turbo high output engine. Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in Wisconsin.
There were severe health complications with my baby when I was pregnant. We made the decision to have an abortion so our daughter wouldn't suffer. Dan Kelly doesn't believe that women should even have that freedom. On the Supreme Court, Dan Kelly will uphold the criminal ban on abortion. Someone you love might struggle with a pregnancy like I did. And that's why we can't have an extremist like Dan Kelly on the Supreme Court.
Outlets at the Dells in the center of water park heaven with 60 of the world's biggest brands. We thrill the trendsetters and all who love a smoking hot discount. Save even more with 25% off and get a free Outlets gift card. Visit outletsatthedells.com for coupon and details.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Yeah, we do have that severe weather threat. Basically, it looks like about tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. High winds, hail, heavy rain, too, is another factor to keep in mind, and then the few tornadoes, too. Once again, the best threat or the highest threat is really to the south of Madison and going to the southwest of Madison through tomorrow. So that's the one we're really eyeballing right now. As we break it down for at least today through tomorrow morning, we're going to have some showers and thunderstorms overnight. Not going to be severe. We'll have rising temps tonight. As you wake up tomorrow morning, probably be in the low 50s. The winds will definitely increase, too, as you get up in tomorrow morning also. But then things by the afternoon hour really quite change as that low gets closer. Scattered severe thunderstorms probably tomorrow afternoon. They'll diminish by evening around 8 to 9. They should really sweep through here and we'll be done. Windy and warm. We'll have probably our first 60-degree day tomorrow along with the wind conditions. And unfortunately on the backside we got cold air too, so we will change back probably to some snow. At least some areas will get it, especially with those winds come Saturday morning. So it'll be a drastic change from what we'll see tomorrow to Saturday morning with this system. Really the low is starting to take shape over basically the western side of Nebraska. It's going to lift to the northeast slowly over time, and by when we get to about Friday evening to Saturday morning, it's going to be coming right overhead and then lifting to the north. So that's kind of the path it's taken. It's got a lot of good moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, a lot of wind energy aloft too. So it's definitely a very strong system that'll deepen as it does push closer. If we time it out for overnight hours, we're really going to see temperatures kind of continue to warm with the southerly winds increasing. Looks like about around 11 to about 2 or 3 is when a band of showers and maybe some thunderstorms will come through to about 3 or 4 in the morning. These won't be severe, but you will hear some rumbles of thunder with that come through. By the time we get to the morning commute, I think we'll see a few showers here and there, but for the most part, it's probably going to be dry to at least start off the day. But then by the afternoon, here's one wave that starts lifting north about 2 to 3. These could be severe as they lift north, and there'll be another wave that's probably even stronger by closer to the evening commute. That, as the low begins to lift northeast, you'll see it work its way quickly through. And I think by that time, once it gets to Madison, that's probably going to be more of a wind threat, strong winds. The tornadic threat will probably be more closer to the low down in Grant County or into Iowa, and that's kind of the path. By the time we get to 8 p.m. tomorrow evening, it's all lifted to the northeast. I think the severe threat is then done. We'll have probably a brief dry spell overnight before the low pushes northeast, and then we get on the backside, and unfortunately the winds start picking up, and here comes the snow by Saturday morning. Not a lot of accumulation with this, but it definitely will feel, once again, kind of wintry, totally different than we saw for Friday. So that's what we're looking at right now. We'll skip over that. Rainfall amounts, they could be quite sexual as you get further north, 2 to 3 inches. They do have some flood issues up there. We could get an inch to an inch and a half. We don't have the snow on the ground, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Right now, rivers are all pretty good, but up to the north, they are starting to see some problems, or at least forecasting. And if you got travel plans up to the north, yes, the winter is up there. Winter storm watches, even blizzard warnings on the backside of the slow. Fortunately, we won't get to see all that, but if you do have travel plans up there, something to keep in mind. As we look out beyond the extended, we should have a quiet a quiet Sunday with about mid-50 temperatures, and then we get active again with another similar system that probably could bring maybe some severe weather once again on a Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. It's going to take a similar track once again, so that's something to watch out too. So unfortunately, our active pattern continues, but definitely stay alert tomorrow afternoon through about tomorrow evening.
Make sure your phone's charged, batteries.
Everything's charged, and just like I said, sometimes just self-awareness when you're outside of what's going on, and just keep aware of it, and you should be good. But yeah, definitely have the phone on you and the alerts ready to go.
Greg will be here tomorrow.
Keep it right here.
Yep.
All right, Greg.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Greg.
Well, what if you spend 9 months waiting to hold your baby? You only had 30 seconds before nurses rushed him or her to the NICU.
That's what happened to a local mom and dad when they found out their son, Braden, had a congenital heart defect.
Brady Mallory has their story and the reason why they're talking about it. Brady?
Well, Braden Boyer's congenital heart defect was a big surprise to his parents, and he went through a lot in that very first month. We're introducing you to the family to share their story of raising a child with CHD because it's the #1 cause of birth defect-related deaths and affects more.
Before I could tell Braden Boyer's story,
okay, you ready for our story?
He asked me to read him a book.
He hunts for his friends on the ocean floor. Can you help Mr. Fish as he finds some more?
It's a rare moment to get the near 2-year-old to slow down.
He loves to explore, loves to get into things. Everything is new. Everything is really exciting.
Braden's parents say he's no stranger to the term excitement. No offense to the characters of hide and seek, pout pout fish, but Braden's journey is the real page turner.
As soon as he was born, he came out bluish purple and not really crying. We knew something was wrong.
Doctors told Bridget and Josh Boyer their newborn had a congenital heart defect called Ebstein's anomaly, making his heart less efficient. It led to other complications in the first weeks of his life: blood clots, seizures, and 3 strokes.
As a parent, you hope to be a little bit more like, no, this isn't happening. Like, this shouldn't be happening. So you kind of go back to, like, why?
It's a question a lot of parents ask. Babies born with congenital heart defects is actually more common than you may think. In fact, 1 in 100 babies is born with one. That's 40,000 babies every year in the U.S., according to the CDC.
It's not top of people's minds. Not all of your friends who had babies struggled with congenital heart defects. It's also something that most of us like to put out of our minds.
Most causes of CHD are unknown, but genetics can be a factor. Dr. Andrea Rock says screenings can detect most of these heart abnormalities while the baby is in utero, but some can go undetected until after birth.
There was a time in the hospital that we were preparing ourselves for a very different outcome. We were pretty touch and go for about 3 days where we didn't know what was going to happen.
If he hadn't been able to get medical care at that time, he would not have made it through that critical time period.
Though serious, Dr. Rock says CHD is often very treatable.
A lot of kids end up doing great and having fulfilling lives into adulthood, and it's so satisfying to see.
Which brings us back to Braden Boyer, who is happy, healthy, and seemingly ready for his close-up.
Are you going to report a story for us?
It's an important one to share.
Just knowing that other people have gone through this and other people will go through this, I think it's really helpful to know that people aren't alone in it.
Braden Boyer's story didn't start out the way his parents had hoped, but they're thankful for the many chapters ahead of him. When he slows down, of course.
Hi, are you coming to sit by me? Hi.
Is he pretty close with you?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, we're buds. Okay, see you later. Just a little hug. That's what I got.
He's very busy. Well, Bridget expects Braden to deal with some vision issues as a result from the strokes he had, but other than that, he's doing well. Dr. Rock emphasizes parents shouldn't blame themselves if their baby has a congenital heart defect. It's not anyone's fault. You can learn more about CHD and find resources from conqueringchd.org/Wisconsin.
What a joy he is.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's proof that medical intervention can be very important.
And by sharing their story, they're going to help so many other
Yep.
parents who are scared to death. It'll help everybody exhale.
Yeah.
So it's a real gift.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brady.
And this just in, a New York grand jury has voted to indict former President Donald Trump. We're expecting a special report momentarily from CBS.
And when that happens, we will take it live. But next, all aboard, it is this week's edition of the Traveler Throwback Thursday.
And there's controversy in Wanakee. Tonight at 5, the library explains why they're trying to dispel misinformation about popular books ahead of a key school board election. That's coming up at 5.